Oh, some of your comments in my dirty mind. I'm just not going to go there. Good, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook, and it's Saturday. What do you want, Bay City Rollers or Chicago? Let's go with Chicago today. There you go. Okay, Saturday in the park. It is, yes, I'm picking my nose, but I'm not doing the Ron DeSantis thing. That's all I'm going to say on that. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, just write Ron DeSantis in your comment. I'll be happy to elaborate. It is Saturday, not in Florida, but in Puerto Vallarta. And this is Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live. I'm not going to go there, Albert, because it has to do with your comment. Well, okay, since you said I'm going to go there. Albert says, Buen dia, Paco y Cluster from Weed Whacker, Central Woodland Hills. It's bush clearance time in Southern California. And I read bush clearing and I thought about trimming. Never mind. I'm just not going to go there. Anyhow, it is here. It is now. It is silly, sunny Puerto Vallarta, and we're gathering as always to listen to news and stuff like that. Not all this silly stuff that I'm going on with. Anyhow, Coffee and Headlines. We're usually more focused on this morning, and I haven't been eating brownies or anything. I'm just giddy because it's the end of the week. It's been a challenging week, but it's been a very inspiring week. I learned so many things, and I want to share about some of the things that I learned this morning, and I mean this week, because I think some of these would empower so many creators in town. And Betsy Ann, I am so happy you are here, because a good third of the broadcast has to do with you. So, and Sherry says, we got it. Sherry must be into trimming bushes as well. And that's all I'm going to say about, never mind. Okay, Paco, focus. This is our day to share news, as always. Yes, that is very sad news. Yes, that is very sad news. So sad to hear that Eric Beverly Fairfax of Encanto Vallarta passed away. Yes, I can only hope that his passing was sudden and that he felt no pain. He was a fixture in town for many years, and I'm sure he will be sorely missed by many. Anyhow, here we are, Coffee and Headlines. Headlines from our city, state, and country. Thoughts and comments that are welcome from you, such as this one from Jill. El Centro is back live after long social media absence. It's great to read you again, dear friend. And this is what we do. We look at your comments. We look at the news. We put things together so that we can have a more connected life living here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. We're not usually this silly, but hey, every now and then things get goofy, I suppose. And what else do I have to tell you? I have to tell you that it's Saturday, May 20th. I want to tell you that if you're watching live for the first time, we're usually more focused. I don't know what's going on today. Maybe it's the iced coffee. But if you are watching live for the first time, please let us know by writing the word new, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If you have something truly important to say, something that you want a reaction on, something that you'd like some feedback on, just add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment, and we'll be looking for that. I haven't seen any Qs just yet, but I'm sure they will show up in a little while. Today's news, well, let's get started with them. Might as well. Boom, bim, boom, bam, bam. This is the button that I'm looking for. There you go. So, actually, there's a story behind this one because does this still work? Yes, it works. I love it when my buttons work. So just came back from Guadalajara, and after we got off the bus, we had to walk half a block to get an Uber because the bus terminal is a federal zone, and Ubers are not allowed to pick you up at a federal zone. Anyhow, we're on this Uber heading home, and the Uber takes Las Palmas Avenue, and it was bumpy, and I said to myself, what the fuck? I mean, this was supposed to be an avenue that was fixed up because Mayor Michel announced it. And lo and behold, he announced that Las Palmas had been improved and repaved, but only one lane. Only one lane. And at the time, I figured, well, that's kind of sneaky to make a big deal out of the fact that one lane out of the two was completed. But now it turns out that indeed the second lane of Las Palmas Avenue is now going to be paved. And as you can see from this photograph, there are all these happy construction workers holding shovels and being very eager to get the work done. I love it. I love it when the press and the government really praises the people that get the work done. Don't we? Yes, I'm being cynical, but what can I say? Several city employees were spotted removing debris in the virtually dry Coapinole Lagoon yesterday. We had previously reported that in past years, whenever the drought got more pronounced and the water level dropped, the city would come in with water trucks to keep the lagoon from drying. This did not happen this year, and unfortunately, the news note we're referencing did not provide any details as to whether the city is cleaning the debris to rescue the lagoon or simply cleaning it. The fact is that whatever water-based creatures that used to live there are probably already dead, and that's really, really sad. So it's unclear whether they're cleaning it to turn it into a park or they're just cleaning it and maybe water will come. We don't know. All I know is that once it starts raining, it will definitely fill up again. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there. Moving right along. Oh, this next one really pushed my buttons. In May of 2021, a 21-year-old girl by the name of Roxana Ruiz, she was from Oaxaca, was sleeping at home when she was raped by a guy she had just met. And apparently she was sleeping while this happened, and the guy, when she woke up, obviously the guy threatened to kill her if she did not allow him to do his deed, but she defended herself. She chose to defend herself by reaching for a t-shirt and asphyxiating him to death in self-defense. 2 years later, a judge determined that she used excessive force to defend herself and sent her to jail for killing her rapist. Now, living in a country where gender-based murder happens to the tune of approximately 10 women a day, the news of the judge's decision angered many, and rightly so. It's no surprise that President López Obrador is constantly at odds with Mexico's Supreme Court. What do you make of this? And the only reason I share this, of course, this has very little to do with Puerto Vallarta news, but this kind of news tends to travel, and I thought I would share it with you because it's probably going to push your buttons, hopefully the same way they pushed mine, and hopefully President López Obrador will be able to do something about this situation. Moving right along, let's take a quick look at the weather forecast for today and the rest of the weekend. It's sunny now, period, says Snarky Weatherman. It is 27 degrees. Humidity is at 74%. So it's very humid out there. Our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 80. And the weather forecast for today says we're going to have a humid day with overcast skies throughout the day, a chance of precipitation of 25%, chance of rain 25%, a high of 30 and a low of 22. Tomorrow, Sunday, will be a humid day with clear skies throughout the day with a high of 32 and a low of 21. And we begin the work week on Monday with humid day with clear skies throughout the day, a chance of rain of 5%, a high of 32, and a low of 21. And that is the news, and that is the weather. And now I want to recap a little bit of my week, if you care to hear about it. It was an artificial intelligence week for me because I started diving into the technology and finally decided, okay, I'm going to see what this fuss is all about. And I learned a lot of things this week. For example, it was Monday or Tuesday that I decided to put all my news notes through Chat GPT, and I said, okay, make my news funnier. And it did, and it was crazy, and you didn't like it all that much, but you were amused, and that's okay. I don't intend to do that. But I started exploring artificial intelligence, and there are many areas in which it can actually help. And then, of course, on Thursday, we went and had our music appreciation presentation. And during the music appreciation presentations, I like to ask those that are present, particularly those that have been going on a regular basis, what kind of music interests you so that we can feature that music in future instances. And God bless Betsy Ann, because she's been coming to those quite a bit. And of course, this last one was about bossa nova. And I learned that she had taught in Rio de Janeiro for a number of years. So she was very much connected with the subject matter. And I asked her, so what kind of music presentation would you like to see? And she says, well, a friend of mine and I often compare classical music with some songs that are pop songs, and we are often surprised about what happens when a pop song references classical music. And I said, aha, music plagiarism. That is a fascinating subject, because there are a number of instances in which pop music has borrowed either melodies or harmonies from classical music. And sometimes this is done properly, as in the permissions are properly requested, and sometimes it is not done properly. So I figured, well, that is fascinating. It is an interesting topic that I happen to know something about. So long story short, our next music appreciation presentation is called Sounds Familiar: Notable Cases of Music Plagiarism. And that's what we're going to talk about on June the 8th at 5 o'clock, even though Facebook thinks we're going to do it at 4 o'clock. I'm still having all kinds of woes with Facebook changing the time on my things. But here's a fascinating thing about it. Of course, I want to thank Betsy Ann for putting the idea in my head, but I figured, how can artificial intelligence help me out to promote this event? And it's helped me already, because I asked artificial intelligence to show me an illustration, or to create an illustration of a guy listening to music on headphones, looking perplexed. And that is exactly what happened. Then I asked artificial intelligence for clever names for my next music appreciation presentation about music plagiarism. And it came back with 5 lovely options, from which I crafted this one. And then I asked artificial intelligence for an enticing description for my presentation, and it gave me one which I trimmed, and I ended up going with this, and I'm reading. And this says, have you ever listened to a song only to realize its melody, harmony, or chords sound vaguely familiar? Join us for an engaging presentation on music plagiarism as we delve into the captivating world of high-profile cases. We will explore notable instances of music plagiarism, dissecting dissecting the controversial similarities between famous songs and their alleged sources. Brace yourself for an auditory journey as we listen to music samples that highlight the disputed melodies, hooks, and arrangements. Get ready to challenge your musical perception and gain a deeper understanding of the complex issues surrounding music plagiarism. And don't miss this unique opportunity to explore the blurred lines between inspiration and imitation. I mean, I have my way with words from time to time, but I could have never come up with something that juicy if I had not relied on artificial intelligence help. So the point that I'm trying to make is, wow, these tools are so fascinating. And you hear me talk frequently about those folks that have failed to properly entice people to get excited about their events or their music presentations or their fundraising pursuits. And, there are so many tools out there that can help us create a framework for what we're trying to accomplish. That's all I'm going to say on the topic, because I am sure that that not everyone here is interested in promoting something, but I'm just grateful that this week I got a chance to learn all kinds of new things and all kinds of new tools. But even more importantly, I was very inspired by your feedback yesterday about whether I talk about music here or elsewhere. I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for having had the opportunity to get to know Betsy Ann a little better. And last but not least, I'm truly grateful for her suggestion. And of course, I am always grateful for your input when it comes to what we talk about here, what we feature, what we do. So speaking of input, I think it is that time to unleash the happy music and see what everybody is up to. I'm seeing good mornings and I love it. I'm stirring my iced coffee and it's dying for me and I'm dying for it. Bush trimming, I love it. Let's see what else. I'm going to chime in on this one because Michal is correct. It was so good to meet you, Betsy Ann, better and get to know you a little better. That's what I love about what we do. We create opportunities for like-minded individuals to get to know each other. That's one thing that I really love about the meet and greets. And it's not summer yet, but we should start thinking about when we're going to have our summer meet and greet. Let's see. Some comments about the case that I mentioned. And yes, a pardon is justified in her particular case, says Rod. Michal's buttons were pushed as well. And Catherine says Mexico's not the only country that pushes women back. Well, we know that to be true, of course. John says artificial intelligence ChatGPT is amazing. It is wild, and I am putting it to good use. Kathy says ChatGPT is interesting. I use it for my language lessons to see if I've written it correctly. It's so funny because last night I was having a conversation with, God bless, well, I'm not going to say any names. You're going to put A and B together, but we have a friend here in the cluster that administers a bed and breakfast, and this particular friend was feeling a little overwhelmed with basic questions that this person was getting from people interested in staying at the villa. And I said, well, ChatGPT, give me the question that you got and I'll put it through ChatGPT and I'll ask ChatGPT to write a gentle, informative answer to the email. And it did. So, see, things are good. It is good. It is great to empower others as well. Bill says, I have done a story on the similarities between mariachi and klezmer and how close they are related. That is fascinating. And I'd love to hear more about this story, because in my mind, the similarity is not so much between mariachi and klezmer. It is more about banda and klezmer because of the instrumentation. So let's compare notes at some point. I hope you and the missus are doing well, Bill. Let's see what else. ChatGPT is frequently wrong and in some cases just makes up answers. Fun to play with, though. Well, I suppose it's a case-by-case basis. I'm not suggesting that ChatGPT is going to replace us or is going to replace anybody. But in my situation, it simply provided a path to follow and a path to spring from. Let's see. Paco, what AI website was used for your option on your presentations? Well, to do the illustration, I used one that the name I forget, but I've been looking at several ones of them. Some of them are free, others let you do things with credits. I tried it with Firefly, which is made by Adobe, and it produced some really interesting illustrations. But Firefly is very specific that you cannot use the illustrations for commercial use. So I went to one that allowed me to use the illustration for commercial purposes. I forget which one it was. And for the text, I used ChatGPT. Let's see what. Oh. All my bushes are wonderfully trimmed now. Happens every May here. Okay. That's good to know. That is very useful information. Kelly says, went to Amaria Villas yesterday. Beautiful spot. It is really a nice property that produces interesting events. I hope they're doing well. I think it is a beautiful property in a challenging location because it's not easy to get there. But I'm glad that other people are getting to know it. Bill says we're doing really well. Thank you. And that's good to know. And then Rob says, I am an English as a second language professor and I've been using ChatGPT for English and for my Spanish learning. It's a total game changer for conversational skills. Right. And then John provides very helpful insight. In my experience with ChatGPT, you have to play with it until you figure it out. Absolutely. For instance, I type in summarize the following and start with date and time. And bam, yes, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that give you inspiring ways to use ChatGPT. So even if you want to do it out of curiosity, just go there. But, I have asked ChatGPT things like, I have a daily broadcast and I describe coffee and headlines and so forth and so on. And I said, give me ideas to reach more audience. And some of the suggestions were really good. So I'm going to continue to explore this and see how we can rely on this new software to produce better results here at Coffee and Headlines. And this brings us to the end of today's broadcast and the end of another work week. Thank you very much for joining me. I apologize for the silliness early on, but I'm simply reacting to your wonderful comments. Have a great day. Have a great weekend in Puerto Vallarta. Let's pray for some rain and let's go out and get totally drenched, which is a good idea when you're not carrying any electronics. Stay happy, stay kind, stay air conditioned, stay connected, and I'll see you again soon.